Boom. So, okay.
Office. Yeah, but I'm here.
Okay, no worries. No, no
Or
worries,
mute
no
myself.
worries. No, I was basically just kind of going in. I was about to go in, kind of completing what we talked about before, or just kind of touching on it, but just kind of giving an open forum. So just to catch you up, this particular talk is called "Let's Talk Holistic Health," and it's just about real solutions for
Okay.
your wellness journey. And I just kind of
Okay.
wanted to open it up. I don't know if anybody will actually come on here and ask questions, but I'm
No.
opening the floor for that, and so that we can have that kind of dialogue, with the community at large, and
Okay.
give people opportunity to ask questions, and really kind of engage. And I just want to offer the information as it is, because I know there's people out here who are do-it-yourselfers, and if you give them the right information, they'll do the right thing with it, and there's a lot of bad information out here. So I'd rather like maybe correct a few things and address a few things. Um,
Indeed. Are we live now?
yeah, we're completely on. We're on YouTube now. Um,
Yes. So forgive me, audience, if you can't see my face. But I'll do this. No, man, I
oh
think
yeah,
it's
so
important.
let me introduce you. This is I mentioned you when I first came on. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get you on, but this is my good brother, friend, and student as well,
Yes,
brother
sir.
Shantae Finley. Tay Finley. The brother has a quite an impressive resume. Uh, he's he's well versed in business, all types of analytical phenomenons that he'll be able to go further in, but he's that guy at the end of the day. And as you guys already know, because I already spoke on it, we're just trying to bring some information today. And Tay, I'll let you speak. I was just kind of telling a story, and I'll complete the story after you kind of introduce yourself.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Yeah, I am Tate Finley. I am a student of Dr. Gabriel Hernandez in holistic health. Been a student since 2012. My background is in a multitude of things. My journey, and it's so funny, Dr. Gabe. I just, and we could talk about this offline. I'm getting ready to do a webinar with a real estate friend of mine because he's trying to bring wellness to his real estate community, and he's on a book tour and all that, and he's going to do a recipe and cooking classroom as well. So as these
Right.
virtual classrooms, so I told him about you. Um, so we're about to launch a 10-day, the 10-day wellness challenge that we have.
Okay.
That's the self-care challenge that we have in our software. We're going to launch that December the 15th to his community.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do a show this Sunday, kind of introducing, having a question and answer and stuff like that. So I'll fill you in. But one of the things he said was, "Hey man, you need a bio and a press release. You and I both need that, right?" So I was working with my son and writing a bio today, and it was quite interesting when you actually sit down and write things about yourself. And some people, it's kind of uncomfortable for me because I'm a purist, like and I'm getting real cheesy, right? There's a scene in You Got Served where I think it's a Marion or whatever. They're trying to get a dude to come dance with him, but he don't want to battle. He's the pure
Mm.
he's into the purest of the art of hip hop dancing, bro. I'm a purist in the wellness, right? So I don't like to talk about myself. Or you and I have had these conversations, but when you really start going into what we do, and of course in my bio I put my first certification, holistic iridology, and then holistic health coach and wellness coach, and then my doctorate of holistic science that I've gotten from you. Then I started talking about all the things that we do for as from iridology to this to color therapy to sound therapy with the inner voice to acupressure and meridian alignment. And I when I started writing these things about all the capabilities that we have from, as a full-fledged, wellness coach or whatever. And I consider myself, someone named me this because I'm in the tech space. I'm a health engineer. I'm a I'm
Yeah,
a wellness, I'm a wellness project manager, right?
I love
Because
that.
of, because of my, for the audience, I'm in the tech space, and so a lot of the, the philosophies now in the tech space, as far as managing projects and stuff like that, and agile philosophy or ITIL. So I understand all these philosophies and I apply them in that space as a consultant. But one of the things that Gabe and I have been working on is taking that knowledge and using that to scale a wellness practice to where it's turnkey for professional clients. And that's I think that's the component or the value proposition that I add to Dr. Gabriel is saying, hey, we got this plethora of knowledge, but how do we streamline it? How do we make it into a McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, or, and not to minimize the level of service, but to make it turnkey, and then we can hold your hand throughout that process. So that's what I've been working on to add to when I saw the vision of life force management, and and I'm so in awe of, your knowledge, brother. So I'm like, yo, we have something that it's not to minimize what other people are doing out there, uh, but I know that we have some things that people, and the way that we do it is uniquely different, and we get results. So that's what I'm most proud of. And
Yeah,
yeah, man, yeah, we just here, we here for the whole journey, and we got you. That's all I can say to all is we got you.
that's right. That's a fact. I appreciate that, and I'm thankful that you're able to add your, unique um, blend of skills, because you have a it's kind of like what's my guy name in that movie Taken,
Yeah, yeah,
Liam
yeah. I
Neeson.
don't have no ransom, but I
You,
have a unique set of skills.
you got a unique set of skills, and that's important, have our own version of the X-Men out here. Um,
Exactly. Well, you remember you told me something a few years back when I started Life Force, and I was always questioning, how, if I knew enough. And you empowered me. You said, "Hey, listen, man. Um, Next to a double doctorate and PhD in biology or something like that, you know more than 99% of the people out there, and that because when you're dealing with people, man, and you're trying to help someone with their life and their journey and stuff like that, I don't want to ever misrepresent what I know, and if I can help someone. But when you start talking about putting practical things in your life and understanding these different philosophies and different theories and things that we've learned, there's a way that you can do it from a preventive and just implementing new habits and new things into your life to where it works. And
mhm,
science says it's worked. My data of people that I've worked with, the things that we do work. So with that being said, I just felt that it was time because there is a lot of stuff, garbage that's out there. There's some people putting some good information out there. There's some people that does what do they call it? Is it fear marketing, fear based marketing, to where
mhm.
you're scaring somebody into, if you do this, you're gonna do this, so you better jump on and order now and do this. Like,
Uh-huh.
no, I don't agree with
Yeah. Yeah,
that.
it's interesting because a lot of these, whether we're talking about love or fear, these strong emotions, these emotional anchors, if you will, their spectrum is quite
Right,
interesting. You know,
right,
uh, it's just like
yeah,
you're looking at the same frequency or the same energy, just at a different vibratory rate, and it's like, man, fear turned on its head, man. It's beautiful on the other side of the spectrum. we're talking about courage. We're talking about, you know, uh, the ability to move forward in spite of the fear, because the fear, it'll be there. But what are you going to do? How do you move? If you're going to move, are you going to move? Are you going to let it hold you? Like, one thing that I really, I study a lot about Proctor's work,
I
and
love Bob Proctor.
yeah, man, it's just one of the things he just has so much insight, and you hear the terms, fear being, the acronyms, my
Talk to me.
personal fantasy expecting a reality, uh,
Ah,
you know, and that was before I heard the other one everybody else says, and
false appearance, feeling false
yeah, false evidence appearing real.
feel.
Yeah, and
Um,
but he just elucidated the fact that, for me at least, the fear is just, and most of this stuff anyway is really illusion. So you have a choice. Are you going to choose the emotions that you want to feel to get the results that you're looking for, or are you going to succumb and be a victim of the emotions that you allow because you're not dictating how you're moving? It's like you only have two ways that you can even address uh, these things. And yeah, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent on
no,
how
no,
powerful.
that's important, right? I was having a conversation with my son. We were talking about trauma, and we were talking about some other things. And I think with people, and this is the one thing I don't agree when I listen to not the Bob Proctors or the Jim Rohns of the world or the Brian Tracy's. When I listen to
Hmm.
some of these newer, motivational speakers and stuff like that, not the Les Browns or the Tony Robbins, some of these newer guys, it's all about like fight through, get through it, you know, you know, you ain't gonna be successful unless you're willing to live off of 4 hours of sleep. And that's not true.
Hmm.
Like being productive and being efficient, like, are there some days to where, yeah, you're gonna, you might, burn the midnight oil because you have multiple clients or you have this, you have that. But when you start talking about, okay, maybe you need to start scaling your business, right? Or if you're thinking like a CEO and you have an idea, you can't do everything. So if you are staying up all night, and that doesn't mean that you're going to be successful because you're staying up all night. What are you staying up all night for? That's the
Hmm.
question. What are you really working on? And another thing too is you can't just fight through certain things because trauma, especially if it's a child, if you had a lot of childhood trauma or been through toxic things at an early age, it's like, and I heard someone use this analogy. If you have a gallon of lemonade and somebody pee in the lemonade, you can't add more sugar to the lemonade to make the pee go away. You got to make some more lemonade or you got to take the pee out of the lemonade. So if you have trauma, you can't overshadow your trauma by doing great things in your life because
Yeah.
that stuff is still there. And so you got to understand whether it's fear, whether it's trauma, whether it's toxins, whatever. You can't just, okay, I'm just going to be great and forget about all of this other stuff that I'm dealing with. Nah, man, you got to do the work, right? As KRS
Yeah.
once say, you got to break it down to its very last compound. And
That's right.
that's where if you're the person that wants a quick fix, then life force management or holistic university is probably not for you, right? We got a 21-day vegan detox that Dr. Gabe has wrote a marvelous book on. That'll get you at the door, but that's
Yeah.
not going to like when I see people put, hey, this is the best version of sea moss, and it's all the
Here's how you,
trace minerals, all the
hey,
trace
Tay, just
minerals. Okay,
yeah.
look, go ahead.
Yeah. Nah, I was just gonna say, like, it's interesting that you put it like that, because it's like thinking that just because you made the bed today that it's not going to get messy tomorrow. You get what I'm
One
saying?
hundred
Like,
percent
it's like you have to keep making the bed,
every
like
day.
every day. Like you can't, you can't not do it. I mean, you can, but like if you
Right,
continue to not, it's going to get worse, and it's, eventually, you know, it's going to start to smell like it's going to change colors depending on what color those sheets are. Like, so
right.
you need, it's important to maintain. The maintenance is important, um, in many
You know,
ways.
you got people who drive a foreign, right, whether it's Mercedes, whatever, and put 93 octane in their car, but they'll put trash in their body.
Facts. Yeah, that's right. But
They,
why that is, because we're not brought here with a manual, and there's a disconnect, and that's really why we're here. We because we want to address the root causes. We want to address um, the individual holistically. We want to address the nation holistically. You know what I mean?
exactly.
There's a lot of ailments that our community is dealing with, and the community at large, the planet Earth community is dealing with a lot of things that can, in many ways, easily be dealt with. And so that's what we wanted to deal with today, because in our last conversation, we were dealing with biohacking, right? So
Yes,
before
sir.
I continue with the biohacking, because I was going to touch on, because there was a few points, several points, because we only touched on three, and we were on for like 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah. I try to be. Yeah, yeah,
We only covered 3 points, but I mean, we covered them in depth, and we were able to discuss, the broader information around these points, because you know, even though these diagrams are going to have the basic information about the points, there's a lot more that we can dive into. And so, the couple of points that I wanted to touch on today in this conversation, and also, make it clear that this is an open dialogue. So, for clarity, this is an open dialogue, for anybody who has a question, a comment, etc. But
yeah.
even before I do that, Tay, I did want to get back into the story, because what I was doing, I just wanted to give people a real kind of background on why I do what I do, and how I ended up doing what I'm doing, and you know, and I'm really, you know, at a place where I'm having to, uh, and not only have I heard it, a million times from everybody that I know, um, and it's like damn, when you going to go ahead and just go live and just get the people what they need, because really
Yeah,
that's really all it takes. What I mean? I do have a lot going on. I have a lot of children running around. I don't know if y'all can hear them in the background, but if I open this door, it sound like we at the circus.
right.
So,
Yeah, yeah. That's
I
prosperity, though. That's
you know
wealth right there. That's wealth.
that's right.
That's
I
wealth
get
in
it in
land.
when I can, but I want to make a more conscious effort to do this, to be to be a blessing to people, and to give people an opportunity to ask questions if they're having some ailment that can simply be addressed, because a lot of stuff doesn't require uh, you know we have all types of programs for people that can help them with different things, but some people don't need a program. Some people got acid reflux and just need a little baking soda and some water, and they just need to knock it back. And then there's people
Right.
that have it and they just need a little vinegar to knock it back. And in their water, of course. Some apple cider vinegar, let me be clear. Not distilled or white vinegar, or nothing. It's specifically organic apple cider raw vinegar with mother, just a tablespoon in a glass of water, and bam. You know what I mean? So it's like those are simple things that are in. You good? Yes. You need anything?
Right. But but here's the thing too, though.
I'm sorry.
In
Go ahead.
that,
Go ahead and continue. I'm what you need? Oh, mom said she needs things to come.
Yeah. So here's the thing too. Along with those simple things, those simple practices that you can add into your life to where you won't get that trigger anymore, right? Because if you do have an imbalancement in acid reflux, what is that coming from? What is the root cause of that? So let's deal with the physical part and deal with the emotional and the mental part of it as well too, because it could be something that
Hey,
you're
Tay,
internalizing. Go
Tay,
ahead.
give me 30 seconds real quick. You continue what you were saying. Give me 30 seconds. I gotta run for
Sure
one
thing.
second.
Sure thing. Yeah. So what I was saying is there's certain things that there are triggers for you that will cause your body to respond a certain way, and a lot of times to protect your body as well. So yes, there are simple things you can do to offset, whether that's reflux or a lot of different that how those two things align and how they work together are those three things, mind, body, and spirit. And yeah, we could take care of the body, but let's take care of the mind and the spirit as well. And so we can avoid these things happening. I'm a person that started getting acid reflux, after COVID, and but I understand what triggers this. If I'm stressed, if I'm this, so I'll go to the root cause of it and deal with. Oh, okay, I'm in this space now. Maybe I need to take a step back from so much activities, or if I'm overexerting myself, my body responds differently. But that's me. So understanding the root cause is what myself and Dr. Gabe specialize in, and I think that you guys would find that way more valuable than some, as they say back in the day, some get rich quick scheme, some get healthy quick scheme. Because ultimately, man, you want to be able to implement things in your life that are that you can apply to your everyday life in this, and so these things won't reoccur. But yeah, having the biohack or the life hack to get those things knocked out, by all means, yes, 100%, we got those as well. But we're here for the short term and the long term. And like I said, a lot of you guys are doing things very, very well. You are, excuse me, man, I'm driving and I got my lights turned on. Hope I don't get stopped by the police so you guys can see me. But you guys are doing things where people are trying to eat better. People are more conscious of what they're putting in. People are trying to take different herbs and stuff like that. So I think in humanity and society as a whole, or at least a good part of society, is at least are at least more aware of what's out there. I think where the breakdown is sometimes is how and why you're putting certain things in your body. And I heard this statement before, is that when you just try to put something good in your body without removing what's bad, it's like trying to clean a fish tank, but you're still leaving the fish in there. You have to, if you notice, you have to take the fish out of the fish tank when you're cleaning the fish tank, because if you don't, all that gunk and residue from the bottom will kill the fish, right? And that's the way I've always understood it. So it's like that with your body, mind, and spirit. Yeah, you could introduce some really amazing things, and it can give you some results. But the result is actually cleaning yourself out, and eliminating, removing some things, and then putting the good stuff back in. So that's those are the life hacks. And but we can always, and as Dr. Gabe has alluded to, there's certain things that we can do when we start talking about the 12 acupressure points, and how it, the state of homeostasis, and how it gets your body back aligned, and understanding meridians, and how that, and activating those, and activating that energy, and how that is such a benefit. So I'm super excited about what Dr. Gabe is going to bring today. And if you guys haven't watched episode one, You can watch it on Dr. Gabriel Hernandez channel, or you can watch it on mine, uh, the Life Force Management USA. I tend to call my podcast the Life Force Movement because it's more than just it's a movement. Right? It's a community that we're building, and there's more than one way to be healthy. There's more than one way to be active. There's more than one way to do mindfulness. So, with that being said, we want to make sure that we include everybody. I like I hoop, I work out, but my oldest son, he likes to rock climb, and that's his form, that's his relaxation. But he, when before he got injured, he was one of the most shredded people I knew, but he rock climbed. He barely lift weights. So there's different ways of doing it. There's different ways of reaching your dietary goals, nutrition goals, and stuff like that. So we want to make sure we bring awareness to that. And if someone is needing, assistance, we're here to help. And but just getting different. If you can take some of this information and just like Dr. Gabe said, do it yourself. That's going to be great as well. We'll have that for you because at the end of the day, and Dr. Gabe and I talked about this uh, in the last show, is that after 18 months, and my philosophy is after 18 months of working with me, the biohacks, everything that we're giving you, whether you're working with me, you should be educated enough to where you can you would only need to tap in with me once every 45 to 60 days. If you can't do certain things, understand your diet regimen, understanding your mindfulness, understanding basic breath work, understanding certain things, and all you need to do is come periodically come get a scan from me, then I've done you a disservice in the client um, relationship. So I was just talking about the importance of removing. We can add, but there's a part of that journey to where we got to remove stuff too. And I use the analogy of yeah, you can go take moringa, you can get the best sea moss, but if 80% of the rest of your lifestyle and habits is trash, that sea moss is only going to get you so far. And I use the analogy of like you can't if you clean a fish tank, you have to take the fish out of the fish tank. Once you start cleaning out all that garbage, you can't leave the fish in there. The fish will die.
Yeah.
So think about that. So when you're talking about, hey, I'm trying to implement new things in my life. Okay, that's great. And there's certain things, like you said, the acid reflux. There's certain things quickly we can deal with. But when you really start saying, hey, man, I want to change like my liver, and I learned this from you, in one of my courses, right? Hey, it
Mhm.
takes you can have a new liver in 11 months. That's 11 months. What do you have to do in that 11 months to really re you know get yourself a whole new liver in your body? If you were drinking 4 or 5 times a week over the last 5 years, and you come to us, you come to myself or Dr. Gabe, and you got cirrhosis of the liver. Oh yeah, we can tell you to drink, milk thistle and nettle and dandelion tea, but you got to remove some stuff as well.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah, so
that's important. I mean, and just to you know, even
and
to
hey,
add
Gabe, I'm
on.
gonna I'm gonna go off camera because I'm backing
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the garage, and then I'm gonna go
yeah.
log in on my laptop. But
No,
I'm gonna
you're
stay
good to
on
go.
though. But go ahead.
No, you're
All
good.
right.
No, just to add on to that, and in fact, I'm gonna go ahead and
Go
go
in.
in.
Go
I'm gonna
in.
go in here. So here's where I left off, Tay. I probably told you this before, the story, but I had just told the people about how I had got injured on the job, and it was
Cut your hand.
yep, and it was right around the
Yeah, I remember
time,
that.
yeah, right around the time I had entered acupuncture school. So it was a few months in, I and I'm trying to recall if it was before or after I finished my massage program. I don't recall. I want to say it was before I finished. Um, we had finished. We had finished. We had completed psychic development. And then we moved into the massage program. Uh, yeah, so it was several months in, and I was telling the people how I've been given the prognosis by the physicians that I probably would not be
Uh
able
huh.
to use my hand anymore, uh, and I had just basically stopped where I told them that at that time uh, that these three fingers did not have movement um, or feeling. They were completely. It wasn't there, and so that's kind of where I left off. So I told him that I had walked into class in a sling, and that's where I stopped. And so basically, I walk in. Uh, Dr. Mark looks at me. He's like, "Hey, what happened?" I explained to him, and I told people I basically was cut by a very big, sharp, brand new surgical steel butcher knife. Uh, the brand Hinkle, for those that are connoisseurs of knives. So it was a quality cut to say the least. Uh, and let me see. I don't want to miss you, Tay. So when you log off or log on, I got my eye on the screen trying to watch here. So long story short, I explained to my professor that I was injured pretty bad, and in the room is a gentleman. I think I had seen him once before, but he's a very famous martial artist. His name is Cecil Palo. Those who are in the martial art community definitely know who I'm talking about, um, especially the OGs. If you're new, you might not know Cecil, but if you're an OG in the game,
Yeah,
you know
I
who.
remember all that.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, Cecil came up the other day with another OG I was talking to. And he was like, that's a whole nother show. We'll get into that another time.
Okay.
Only person I ever heard say he was ready to fight. Most people start shaking when they hear Cecil's name. Um, but either way, um, so long story short, Cecil's like, uh, you know, to give you guys a visual, he's a brother, right? Uh, he's a Moor, but he's
And Gabe, I'm
also
about to come in through my
okay. Okay,
through my
I got you.
laptop.
Got you.
Okay.
So move from there. Yeah, so my brother Cecil, he's half Chinese. Okay, so Cecil's half Chinese, and let's see. Oh, there we go. Peace, peace.
Peace, peace. There we
Yeah,
go.
so I was just saying, so Cecil's half Chinese, and he looks at me, got that funny little, like he's from the hood of New York, but he's still half Chinese. He
Yeah,
like,
half Chinese, half Chinese.
yeah, he said, he said, he said, I'm gonna give you my student number. He teach you qigong, you'll be just fine.
And how old were you when you did this?
I was 19, 19, yeah, and
You know, bro,
mhm,
you really like when people I remember there was a book. I don't know if it was I think it was the Man Talk Chia book.
mhm.
I showed you, you like, yeah, I read that at like 11. Like it was like cosmic healing or something.
I wasn't 11. I was 18, 19, somewhere in there. I
Yeah, but
was.
it was one book you told me you read it like 9 or 10. Like it was something
Oh, you
crazy.
talking about Shahzad Ali?
I don't know what book. It was something on wellness, but
Okay.
I was
Shah-
like,
well, I- what my first recollection of consciousness, well, one of my first recollections of consciousness, I was 8 years old, and I was at my aunt's house who was conscious, like, she's a hippie from the 70s,
mhm,
was in Haiti. She, you go in the house, she got all these, uh, you ever see those voodoo rituals when you go,
mhm.
when you see, like, when you're watching TV and it's showing Haiti back in the day, and the people got on like, it looks like wicker masks and like a whole like outfit.
Right,
Like she had
right.
the full joints up on the wall, two of them joints. Like Auntie, much love to her, that she has transcended, uh, as an ancestor now. But she definitely, was a I want to say an early catalyst to my consciousness. But she had a book by Shahzad Ali on the table, and I
Oh, okay.
picked that
Yeah.
thing up. I was like, man, I went to my parents, was like, yeah, I don't eat pork no more.
Wow.
Yeah, at 8, it was like, they
I
look at me
remember
like, what?
my grandfather, um, man, he was my best friend. And I remember when I told him I wasn't, well, my background is my dad, my mom met my stepdad, my dad in LA, and we moved from
Mm,
from LA to Texas. But he was very conscious, and he would always be like, don't feed them kids all that pork. So even though we made a bacon and sausage, but we didn't eat a lot of it.
mm.
And so when I quit eating it all together, and I came up doing Public Enemy and KRS-One and all that, the early, the dawn of hip hop. And I'm like, I told my grandfather, I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna be a Muslim, I'm blah 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 blah, because I saw the Public Enemy, the S1Ws, and
Uh-huh.
all that. And so it was so fascinating because just to see, young black men organize. So for
Mhm.
me, and I remember at first he said, man, them people don't take baths. I'm like, no, granddad, they take baths. They clean multiple times a day, and
Super clean.
super clean.
I was dapping up the NOI today when it was out there with the fruit and the
yeah,
newspapers.
the key of it is and I was bringing up when you had told me that, but the how early you tapped into who you were supposed to be, and I'm like, that's man, that's that Mamba mentality. That's that Kobe knew,
Yeah.
right? He understood what it took, and he did certain things that no one was willing to do. So when you start talking about your injury and qigong at
Oh yeah.
19, most
Mhm.
guys at 19 or 20 or 21, we breath
Look, I
work,
already know. Look, 'cause-
breath work.
but
You
here's the
know,
thing. Like, I was that guy too. At the same time, it was just that I had an awareness, and I think it came from even earlier. Um, I mentioned as I was talking to the people and just kind of sharing my story. I talked about, me being in the martial arts early, starting around 5. And then I got more serious when I was about 9, 10, in that area. And I didn't get too specific, but I was studying a system called Hapkido. And Hapkido is kind of like a blend of judo, aikido,
mhm.
horendo, and some taekwondo, uh, some swords and some stick fighting in there. And Hapkido is like, if you hear it in the name, Hapkido, you know, and the key is like the biggest thing in Hapkido.
Right.
Everything is based around the chi or the ki. In Japanese and Korean they say ki. So when you see it in Japanese, you'll see QI. In Korea, you see KI. China, you see CHI. You know, in the English translation, right?
Right. Right.
Um, so
That's my trademark, fam. The key is the key.
that's right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I learned early that you can emit chi um, through like striking, and when you strike, you can emit sounds like
Mm-hmm.
Doom. The movie Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like my first introduction to like, oh, so I can punch, but I can make it more powerful by, focusing on my center, my dantian, my hara, right,
Mm-hmm.
and making this noise where I'm ki kia, where I'm activating that center and channeling this energy. So I was like, dang, okay, and I can. So that I started having thoughts about frequency and transmitting energy, and the other side of it is acupressure. Hapkido is like acupressure heavy. So that's how when I first got introduced at 9 or 10 into acupressure and the various points. Uh, so I began, but they're not teaching how to heal with these points. They're teaching how to hurt, right, and
Right.
kill and maim and destroy.
Now,
Uh,
isn't
but
it
in
true?
defense, of course.
Isn't it true?
Mhm.
Because I was talking to someone. I was at the school. So, family, I'm a martial artist as well. My children are, and so I'm in the Chinese martial arts. But I was talking to one of the black belts, and we were talking about some of the traditions, and one of the reasons how, correct me if I'm wrong, TCM or traditional Chinese medicine, one of the reasons why it was formulated, not why it was formulated, but one of the practices was that if you hurt or maim someone, you knew how to heal them after combat. You knew how to
Yep.
heal your opponent. Okay, that was a practice.
I can't say that was widespread. That was, we're talking about people of a certain moral code.
Right.
I mean, I actually um, was given a story like that recently by my uncle, my kung fu uncle. You know,
Hmm.
he was sharing some knowledge and some history with me, and so that there is something to that,
Okay.
but it's like, so one thing I'm finding out, I'll tell you, is that the old ways are still in place, uh,
Okay.
and that until you're like on in the inner door, if you once you enter the gate, as they call it,
Hmm.
um, it, things are different. So, like, what is given to the public is good. It's good. It'll get you through.
The
Get you
adept
by.
chamber. It's like the adept chamber.
It's the adept chamber. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So it's
Yes.
like, another layer, another layer to it. And so
Yeah.
it's been real interesting lately, as of late, with some of the information I've been privy to. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
so it's,
When I tell people, um, well, what is iridology and what is this? And I've said, like, it's layers. It's almost like when you play a video game and you master one level and then they open up or you get more credits and then you can go to another level that you go to, but you got to remember the stuff that you got to remember everything you learned from the first level because it looks different. And it's just like that in
mhm.
in, in martial arts forms, right? When your white belt form in a lot of disciplines, you learn that form over and over again, but you begin to understand the application and the practical reasons why. And then in some disciplines, when you get your black belt, you got to do all the, your black belt testing. You got to do all those, whether it was 14 or 15 forms that you learned, you got to do them all again in a certain way. And it's funny, because someone was like, man, I don't, they were talking about whether it's MMA or jujitsu, and they was like, well, why would you? What's the importance? I don't get it. I said, just kicking someone. If you don't know how to kick someone the right way or the proper way to turn your foot on a roundhouse kick, you can actually hurt yourself. Like there's certain applications and knowledge that you have to have. If you don't, you actually hurt yourself more than you hurt your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a deeper science, right? Because a lot of martial arts is physics involved. It's geometry. It's like it's levels to it, man.
And let me say this too. So when it comes to
nice shirt you got on, man.
Oh yeah. Let me.
Force management. You need a T-shirt. Holla. It's $45.
Life Force. Got to represent. Now these got to be my favorite shirts. So
good call, man. When you had us go through them, that was a good call. The quality is,
man. He, not to get off topic, but he just sold a company to 85 South a couple months ago. Yeah. So that's my guy, man. I'm proud of him. He's doing his thing, man.
Okay. You think the same quality is going to be there?
Look, he's got a toe in it still. Because they want him to maintain, I guess, a certain level of quality. So we'll see. We'll see. I talked to him recently, but he always hits me up for the elderberry and for the for the complex.
Okay.
So we talk, shop like business rarely. We usually, we talking family and and health when we chop it up. So. But yeah, let me.
Let's go, man. I'm about to. I'm probably gonna have to get off camera, man. I haven't eaten all day, so I've been.
Oh man, I'm not gonna stop you from getting your nutrition in. Let me see. But yeah, so let me finish
these vegan. These vegan chicken enchiladas. I mean, chicken quesadillas. That's what I'm about to get down on.
Oh yeah, man, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, with some vegan cheese and all that, and then I'm gonna eat some salmon as well. So I'm about to get it in.
Okay.
Let's do.
Yeah,
hey,
man.
I wanted to ask this in the last, and maybe you could touch on it. When we start talking about meridians and these acupressure points, how often, like I have the ability with my infrared crystal, and I'll show it to the audience. What's practical for as applications? 5, 10, 15 applications. What does that look like? So if you can kind of touch on that, if you have an imbalancement, or if the energy is deficient here, if you're getting some non-invasive, acupressure work, what does that look like?
So I'll give you a broad view. Like, so if you're in China, Japan, or Korea, and you go see someone like myself there, they're going to have you come there every day for the next 12 to 13 weeks. Sometimes even on the weekend. It might be a Monday through Friday thing, but oftentimes it'll be every day. Okay. And you will come there every day for an hour, get your treatment. Sometimes it can be a little less. Sometimes it can be a little bit longer, depending on what you need, what you have to get done. When you're in the U.S. or most Western countries, That's not economically feasible. So therefore, those 12 weeks get broken down into literally 12 weeks, once every 12, once a week for 12 weeks, or once a week for 6 weeks. Um, and again, that can vary, but 6 and 12 weeks are typically um, cycles in which you can make an assessment on how much progress you've made. Um, and typically 12 is ideal, especially in the West, because 12 is the typical paradigm anyway. It's just that the frequency here is going to be less. Again, due to financial reasons. Because nobody has, I'm not going to say nobody has, but not too many people are going to pay, $700 to $1,000 a week for 12 weeks. And they should. That's how, and it's amazing that, we have the record of effectiveness with acupuncture in this country, with the sparse treatments that we utilize here. So once every, when it because that energy is the reason why that is, say, to make it clear, is like, when we went over the Chinese time clock, right? Um, I thought I might have had it with me. It's in the other room. But the Chinese time clock, should I grab it? I don't want to grab it. But, you know, throughout the day, your circadian rhythms, your natural rhythms of your body, your organs will ebb and flow throughout the day. And every 2 hours, every organ gets its 2 hour period to be at its peak level of function. And then opposite side of the day, it's at its lowest level of
Yeah,
function.
yeah, when it's at its weakest. Yeah, that's
That's
like
right.
those martial art movies, man. When you you got to
This is
strike the
this is
lotus at a certain time, man.
look. Uh, you just made me realize if you're looking at it like that, yes. So that's a whole nother level of the kung fu, knowing that once you know the time of day, it's really easy to decide where to strike someone when you know where these points lie on the body.
Right,
And sometimes you don't even need to know points. You know, there's different ways you can assess that information. You can
right.
base it on what's part of the body, or where that blood flow is conjugating right now. You can.
And think of it this way: for
Yeah.
people, think about any of you guys who ever had surgery or had something to be done at a doctor's office. Sometimes they'll tell you to fast the night before. They
Mm,
want to do it first thing in the morning. Why is that? They just
mm.
they're not just doing that just to be doing that. There's a reason for that. So yeah,
Indeed. Yeah, so several reasons, in fact. Just depending on what procedure you're getting done.
exactly, exactly.
Uh, but so let me. Where
Let you
was I
go
at, Tay?
ahead.
I forgot where I was at.
It's about to do your thing.
Oh yeah. So before I go into these points, so I get this. Cecil tells me, hey, call my student. You're gonna teach you qigong, right? So I give him a call. He gives now this guy, man, tell you, I never really got into this when I shared this with you, but this guy was rough as hell. Okay, like mind you, my
Really?
hand, yeah, my hand is hanging the fuck off my arm at this
Wow.
time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's stitched up, but I mean, like like it was bad, right? And he's like, he he was a guy who trained Aikido and Wing Chun, right? And so he trained with Cecil, and Cecil's really rough. Like if you ever meet Cecil, like his hand, like it's the thickness of his hand, like It's like 3 of my hands.
He got that them hands that uncle that can pull the carburetor out of that 72 Cutlass.
And he can do it. He always was working on cars.
Yeah. No, I don't even want to fight nobody like that.
Oh no, you don't want to fight, especially him. He got that iron palm for real. It looks like it, but it's there for real. And long story short, man, 6 weeks later of practicing this qigong faithfully, the form is called Silam Tao. Silam Tao is the first form in Wing Chun. And so it is taught among Wing Chun or Wing Chun practitioners that the first form, Silam Tao, or small idea, is the Qigong of the form. I just got some information the other day, though, Tay. I was building with Unc. See, Unc was the adopted son of my great grandmaster, Henry Puyi. So Unc got stuff that nobody else got. And man, he just
tell people, man, pedigree is everything.
Man, it's crazy. I ain't even gonna go into that because I don't think I should share that on here. But we can talk. We can talk later.
Yeah. That's for the
But yeah, so literally,
just for the audience, just knowing that the audience can have confidence that we're tapped into a pedigree that goes back generations and generations and generations. And, we haven't even talked about, Dr. Mark Armstrong and how cats used to come from China to study up under him in Atlanta, so when, like I said, it's not to diminish anybody else in education or that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is when you're dealing with myself or Dr. Gabe, is that you're dealing with a lineage of information that is second to none, and I'll stand on that.
Yeah, but what I will say though about it is that what I learned, and that anyone who is listening who happens to be a practitioner of Wing Chun, that all three hand forms rather, are all qigong forms, and put together, it's really one form
of the Wing Chun.
Yeah, so that's what I'll say about that. And now,
yeah, was Wing Chun really created by a woman? Is that true?
Yeah, it was created by a nun. So what? I'll share a little more information. I'll share it because why not? That's what we're here for. I'll give it up. I don't think many people know this, but I don't think it's a secret. Okay. And I know for a fact that my great grandmaster gave this key to Cecil. So those who know Cecil, you can check this out. You can back it up. Have no problem. That's my brother anyway. So it is what it is. But my grandmaster shared with my uncle and my brother Cecil that Wing Chun, the southern Shaolin temple that it actually came from, was the Bamboo Forest Temple, which was the Juklum Temple. So that is why Wing Chun has so many similarities to Juklum. And I used to always wonder why that was. And there's another system that is very famous called Bak Mei. Bak Mei is white eyebrow. So white eyebrow, Phoenix Eye Fist. It's a high level system, and I always wondered why Bak Mei was looking so much like Juklum also, because these three systems come out of one temple in southern Shaolin. There were several southern Shaolin temples. Bamboo Forest was a very distinct and specialized temple, and very high level kung fu.
And can you touch on this real quick for the novice? Because I think a lot of people, and this is my understanding, and just from Master Lee, um, some of the places that you'll see pop up, here in the States, in the Western world, 5 animal, this, there were certain things that got lost or was only handed down through tradition and not wasn't documented when I think the Japanese invaded China, right? So some of that, not say it was lost, but it was only handed down to a select few. So certain animals are not
A lot of
actually
it was
part of
lost.
that animal thing, right? There's
Mhm.
yeah, certain stuff has just been made up along the way, and people jump on it
I,
now.
I'll say this. There's something to that, but it depends on what tradition you're in. So if you're part of a tradition, like like you mentioned earlier, certain lineages have an unbroken line, and they have a curriculum that has been the same for hundreds, sometimes thousands of years, or 1,000+ years.
Yeah,
So you know, um, but there are systems that have completely been lost. There are, I don't know how many, but and I would like to believe that there's some hermits up in the mountains, in the Dallas mountains, that are in Wudan, that have somehow preserved the 72 consummate arts of Shaolin. I would love to believe that. I would love to believe that. Um,
I, and it's funny because even when I talk to Master Lee, and
mhm,
he knows that I know stuff, but he's still and I haven't been able to go to class this year as much as I like, so I've kind of fallen behind because I should be purple brown by now, right?
mhm,
I just haven't been able to test in 2 or 3 years and whatever, but I still train on those forms now.
mhm.
Um, but I've shown him the lineage. He's like, "Oh, I know who Henry Puyi." And he kind of looks at me like, "How you?" And I told him where I learned my first level of qigong from you, and he had me demonstrate it. He says, "Oh, that's southern. That's a harder style. His is more lighter. It's northern. His is, our style is long fist
Mhm.
Shaolin kung fu." But he'll every once in a while, like we'll do a form and it'll be the northern style. Then he said, we'll do the southern style. So everything is kind of shortened. Or he said, okay, well, I'm gonna teach you the Wing Chun. And he does it every now and then, depending on who shows up for class or
Mhm.
whatever. So it's kind of interesting how he'll let certain things out and then he'll conceal certain things.
Oh,
So
that's just how it is.
okay.
Um, you just it's like this.
Because we'll do some crane stuff, right? We'll do trapping and taking out the we'll do some stuff. I'm like, oh, this is dope. We may not do it again for another 3 or 4 months,
So
but we
okay,
do some we do some white crane stuff. Yeah.
so that's a test to you, Shantae. Those are your tests.
Okay.
So when that happens, you're supposed to take that technique, take it home,
Hmm.
practice it like nobody's business,
Okay.
and then come back 3 months later and show them what you got.
Okay. All right.
Ask for insight. Say, hey, I've been working on this. Can I do something better? Is there any way I can improve?
Okay.
That's in those situations. That's what you do. Anytime your seafood gives you those nuggets, go train it. Go
Yeah,
train it.
man. I can't wait till you come to Dallas. We got like 2 or 3 people in our class, and it's in the so I'm in Kung Fu 2 now with the higher ups, with the black and brown belts, and some of the stuff, man. They got a couple of kids. One has already moved to California. They got a couple of kids that are doing stunts in martial arts movies. They're so
Oh,
cold.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, your teacher, I mean, he has that. I mean, he has those acrobatic forms. I mean,
Yeah,
this,
because he has a lot of wushu, you
yeah.
know.
And that's what I was gonna say earlier. So when you talk about the wushu, uh, when it's classified as wushu, a lot of that stuff is, more modern creations. Okay.
Right.
And to me, it's not necessarily a bad thing. The people that created those wushu forms are high level masters. Some of the highest level masters in China are the ones who created those forms. That's why they're so beautiful, and you know what I mean.
Right.
People people try to be, down them because it's very
More
beautiful.
poetic. Yeah.
It's very beautiful, and so people, and that's what I started to say earlier is that it's one thing to train and be focused on technique and poise and posture and breathing
Hmm.
and whatever the internal concepts may be for that
Hmm.
particular system, and all of the things that you have to internalize to execute forms. Whereas your you know our brothers who are focused more on the MMA side, which technically are the same techniques that you'll find in these systems.
Uh-huh.
I'll explain that in a second. But these guys are training to fight. When you're training crane techniques,
Hmm.
you aren't necessarily training to fight. When you're training crane, you're literally, to put it in plain English, it's like you're imagining or putting yourself in a situation where you're protecting yourself or your family or a loved one, right?
Right.
That's the whole concept behind 99% of these martial arts. Your job is learning the martial arts. You're learning to be extremely dangerous to someone who is actually trying to harm you or somebody close to you. Your job is to respond accordingly. So
Right.
that's why, you know, when you're doing the crane, the first thing is to bring that wing across to lock in that punch and to strike. So you're literally just defense. MMA, they're learning how to come in and knock your ass out, how to
Yeah.
break your leg. It's
Yeah.
a whole different mindset. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like that's the best way I can put it. I know there's all kind of debates out here, and Joe Rogan has this to say here and there. All that's fine and well, but at the end of the day, Tai Chi guys aren't training to get down on the ground with anybody. You know
Yeah.
the there's combat guys who do
Sandown. Yeah. We
combat.
learn how we get on. We do ground fighting.
There is combat Tai Chi, and these days, uh, masters who are wise enough are getting on the ground and teaching their guys how to use those techniques on the ground. Because in these systems, in these ancient systems, all of that stuff, what back in the day, they had all that. Every system was a mixed martial art. There was wrestling and grappling and
Mhm.
weapons and striking and locking and all of these different methods were in all the systems. But as time went by, you're not wearing armor no more. Like people used to train with armor, and like it was a
Right.
whole different. It was a whole different stuff. I mean, if you go and read 100 years ago, Tay, go if you ever get a chance, look up like martial art legends, but like true stories, like from 100 years ago. You can like find records of fights, and so like some of the guys who like I'm even in lineage from like Alan Pittman. What's the brother's name? Not I was thinking Sun Lutang. Was it?
Hmm.
Sun Lutang. So Sun Lutang had Uh, you remember Five Deadly Venoms,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sun Lutang and uh, what's his name? The founder of Bagua.
Oh, you're talking about the character that was it the character that Jet Li played in Fearless? No, that's not him.
No, it'll come to me. Dang, his name was just on the tip of my tongue. But either way, I'll just use Sun Lutang as an example because apparently these guys had the same kind of skill. But you remember Five Deadly Venoms,
Mm-hmm.
lizard style.
Mm-hmm.
So Sun Lutang, he's famous for Xingyi, Bagua, and Tai Chi, but because he created Sun style Tai Chi, but he had the skill. He's on record that he could climb a wall with his back and be up on the wall.
Yeah,
Like
I
Lizard said, on the
don't know none
wall,
of that.
like number four, the lizard.
Yeah.
And they call it gecko. They call it lizard in the movie, but it's like they call it that's the form. That technique is one of the 72 consummate arts of Shaolin, and it's called gecko walking. So they in the books in the Shaolin manuals, they show people doing it. So this is a skill that's been documented. It's not just something from a movie, you know. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, I
Wow.
mean, there's
Wow.
still guys that have certain level skills that are, can be
Deadly. Yeah.
beyond deadly, man. Yeah. I'm gonna send you some stuff. There's this guy, man.
Yeah, because I've gotten into debates, and I told people the way I explain it is this. Yeah, you said it. Yeah. Um, MMA guys, and I respect them and I like them. They're trained because it's a sport, so they're trained to win in
Mhm.
a 5-minute round. Um,
Yeah.
but the average person walking around, right? So me and you, we got the missus, we're out to eat, and some butt wipe is causing. He's drunk at the bar, and he says something. The average person that hasn't taken, because if a person has taken some form of martial arts, they know not to start anything with anybody. So your average Joe Blow doesn't know how to fight, right?
Mhm.
They know how to throw punches. They may be strong, but they don't actually know how to fight. So the average martial artist is, let's say you spend at least 2 to 3 years, you know some basic things to F somebody up that doesn't know anything. So that's what I tell people when I hear MMA, oh, that stuff is not practical. Well, the average guy that you meet at a bar or whatever, he doesn't know any technique. So
Mhm.
whatever limited information that you may have, whether you just taking Taekwondo dudes know how to kick. You
Yeah.
get you get kicked upside the head by someone that knows Taekwondo, you're gonna get hurt,
Yeah.
right?
You gonna
So
you
I
gonna know
don't
you got
compare,
kicked. That's for sure.
right? I don't compare. But what I do know is that Master Lee, like in our discipline, he's had some guys that went to Muay Thai or went to MMA, and they're still the top because all of that foundational martial arts training that they got from Master Lee, the discipline and understanding. So their kicks are better. They're this. All they're learning now is the grappling, the actual sport of it, what you can do, what you can't do, because you can't take somebody out. Some of the stuff that we learn in martial arts, you can't, break you can't do a low scope kick and break. Well, you can do it, but not the way we know how to do it. Because if someone charge you and doing a low scope kick, you can break their shin. Like, so there's
Yeah.
certain things in martial arts that we know how to really, like,
No,
mess you up. You can't
no, you're
do
right.
MMA.
No, you're
So
right.
I think we have to be fair and put it into context. Like, yo, yes, the average person but here's another thing. The average person doing MMA for a couple of years, and that guy that got a 10-6 record with only 2 knockouts in boxing, and you think, oh, he's trash. You seen him on ESPN, you're like, he's trash. The average boxer will whoop anybody.
Oh yeah.
So it's
Mhm.
it's all context, but I love the
Yep.
discussions, but I don't, I'm a fan of it all,
That's right.
right? whether where it's MMA, I think it has its place because it's a sport. But then I think that like you said, the culture of martial arts, and the history of it, and then the healing properties of martial arts. That's what I enjoy about it, and just it's a way of life.
Mhm.
I tell my kids like kung fu is just, and it's cheesy because you heard Jackie Chan say it in Karate Kid with Jaden Smith, but it's in everything that you do. It's the way you talk to somebody. It's the way that you treat your teachers. It's the way that the level of service that you offer if you have a product or a service. It's in everything. So you apply these principles to your way of life, and the quality of your life will be better. That's what I enjoy about kung fu. That's it's a second or third spiritual system outside of stuff that you and I talk about.
That's
You
right.
know, yeah, yeah, 100%.
No, that's
So I'm gonna let you go in, man, because I know we've been on for a minute. We
yeah.
do this
I
all.
know you're trying to eat, so you got your plate close by. I'm a
No. I don't have I
scoop.
don't have it yet. Yeah, so I'm gonna let
You
you
got
go in. I'm gonna mute.
indeed. All right, so let me open up my other screen here so I can see this a little bit better. I'm gonna go into slideshow. All right. So again, I'm just going to start from the top here. So we're dealing with REN 17, and this is a very special point, y'all. Extremely special point. Why is this point special? Not only is it a homeostasis point, meaning it brings balance to the body, and we'll go over in just a second how much balance it goes over. But guess what, Shante, you got an idea why this is so important?
Well, chess. Um, I mean breath. I mean, anytime I see someone with chest and lungs, is your ability, breath and oxygen to the brain. That that's the first thing coming to my mind.
All right, that's an excellent insight, right? But this point, REN 17, that's the heart chakra. Everybody want to talk about heart chakra as some fluffy fairy tale type stuff. This is it.
Well,
Literally,
I'm
like
about to hit you with that Conway. Talk to him.
if you want to know what the heart chakra is or where it is, this is it. So let's do a little bit of reading. So the Chinese name for this point is Tanzong. Okay, the English translation, as you mentioned, the chest center or the center of the chest. All right, the heart. It's in between the nipples, I should say. Location on the anterior median line. Okay, which means middle line of the chest at the level of the fourth intercostal space. If you were to count your intercostal spaces down to the fourth intercostal space, it'll be that same space where the nipple is. And then, so if you were to touch both your nipples and then go into the very center of that area, in the very center, that is your heart chakra. That's REN 17. And it says it right here. I stopped reading and just started telling you. Intercostal space at the midpoint between the two nipples. Classification, front mu point of the pericardium. So front mu point, as we talked about on the last episode, you have to go back and watch that one to get some more insight. But these are alarm points. So these are major points that for practitioners of acupressure or acupuncture, we press alarm points to see how you respond. So when we palpitate the body, one of the assessments in Chinese medicine, which I haven't actually showed you, Tay, because a lot of the stuff that we do these days is virtual. But I'll demonstrate that to you next time we hanging out.
Okay.
Is how to palpitate. It's kind of like when you're talking to somebody, and you put your hand on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know it's happening. You're
Right.
kind of having this conversation with your client, and you're you're pressing a few points, you're seeing how the body responds, or if they make a noise, and you're taking these notes, and you're compiling data,
Okay.
to give you more insight. Okay. So classification, this is also known as a converging point of chi. As we know, converging is like coming together. So this is like a pooling of chi, and of course we know this is the heart chakra. So that energy is pooling in the heart, right? The indications are asthma pain, which you mentioned. You had some psychic insight on what this point could assist with. And as we see asthma, pain, and oppression of the chest, it also deals with cardiac pain, palpitations, insufficient lactation, hiccups, dysplasia. So indication is the same thing as symptoms, right? So
Okay.
these are symptoms that you may come across, and this is a point that you can use to address those symptoms. So this is where the biohacking comes in. So instead of going and getting whatever pill gets prescribed for these different challenges, right? And so this also tells you for something as simple as a hiccup. Everybody's always trying to find a different recipe for hiccup cures, right? They want to hold your breath, turn left,
Right.
spin in a circle.
Right.
But you can literally hold this point for 30 seconds. Hold it for a minute. Hold it at intervals of a minute or 30 seconds, 3 to 5 times, and allow the hiccups to naturally dissipate. Okay. So this
Yeah,
point
that's
can
a
be,
hack. That's a hack right there.
it's a super hack, right? Of course, if you're having any of these other pains, you should seek professional help. But if you're not able, or until you're able to get that help, you can press this point, hold that point, and breathe. Just breathe deeply and naturally. With one point, you can hold one finger, you can hold these two fingers, you can hold like your fingers together on that point. And these are ways that you can do some self-treating. Um, of course, just putting it out there, I'm a naturopathic doctor. This is not medical advice. Okay. This is for educational purposes only. I ain't put that out there yet. So let me caveat this whole thing. Uh, also, functions. So it opens the chest, tonifies and regulates lung qi, subdues rebellious lung qi. And for women, this point benefits the breast. Okay, so notice it said insufficient lactation. So women who are breastfeeding, this is a point that you can hold and you can rub, circle. You can do like circles 36 times in both directions. You can tap that point 36 times. This is going to benefit, your milk production. Let's see here. Notes. Front move point can be used to treat diseases of the affected zong fu organ and those of yang meridian and collaterals. They treat diseases of 6 fu organs and diseases of yang meridians and adverse reaction. When a front move point is pressed, it can help make a diagnosis. We kind of talked about that, and I know some of that is kind of like little Chinese. As I was reading that, it's like Zangfu and Yang meridians. Like so these are different things that for those who want more insight, we do teach this. So I have a school. There's a website you can see on the screen. You can feel free to go to that website. If you're interested in classes, you can sign up there. In the meantime, though, you can just pull up these words, take a screenshot, pull those words up, and just look them up. Just Google them. Matter of fact, let me get this off the screen real quick so you can actually see it. Oh, wrong thing. Okay. So if any of those words, so front points can be used to treat diseases of the affected zong fu organ. Okay. That basically is just telling you that these front, there's several on the front of the body, and there's also back shoe points that are the same thing. So front mu, back shoe. So on the front they're called mu points, on the back they're called shoe points. When you press these points, like it's I mentioned it earlier, for Chinese medicine, you can diagnose certain things by how people respond, how the point feels. If it feels what we call in Japanese jitsu or kill, that'd be hard or soft. We can make different determinations about the quality and the health of the organ. Um,
Right.
mhm.
I was going to ask you something. Oh, where it says in the notes, can you tap into briefly when it says those of yang meridians, and the difference between a yin meridian and a yang meridian?
So when it says Zong Fu organ and that sentence before that, that's also a reference to Yang and Yin, Zong and Fu. That's another way to say Yang and Yin. It's a different
Okay.
expression, but the same intention.
Okay.
So Zong is obviously Yang, Fu is going to be Yin. So each organ system. So let's take water for example. We have kidney, and we have urinary bladder. We discussed last week the difference between the Zong and Fu organs. And so we discussed them. We basically said one is like hollow, right? So if we're talking about the water meridian or the water system, we're talking about the bladder is going to be hollow,
Right.
right?
Right.
Or yin, right?
Right.
And then the kidney is like a piece of meat.
So it's active. It's going to be yang.
It's yang,
Right.
exactly. So when we say yang meridians, we're going to say the meridians that are attached to the organs that are considered yang, the ones that are not considered a sac or a bag, right? So when we look at, I don't know, name another element.
Wood.
Okay, so we got liver, gallbladder, right? One is a bag, one is like a hunk of meat. All right. So which one is yin? Or
The
which one is fu? It's gonna be gallbladder. Exactly.
right. And
All
then
right. So that's the concept, and you can run through each of the
understood.
meridians, the organs to kind of figure out which one is which. That
So
was a
this
great
would be
question, by the way.
fire. That this
Say
would be
again?
fire. This would be the fire element. This Ren 17.
Yes. No. Okay. So
Oh, it
great.
could be metal though.
You hold on. You made a great point. We got to address this real quick. We got to address it. So this particular meridian, right, on the front of the body, on that center line, the Ren meridian. This is the conception vessel, right? It's on the front of the body where all your soft meat is. So
Okay.
this is going to be yin. The front of the body is yin, first off, but that's going to be yin, the conception vessel.
Okay.
Okay. On the back of the body that connects to it, creates the microcosmic orbit, right, is the governing vessel. That's Du. So you have Du and Ren, and the Du and the Ren complete the full
Full orbit. Okay.
microcosmic orbit. They attach at the roof of the mouth by putting the tongue at the roof of the mouth, and also by squeezing the anus, or more specifically the perineum, between the anus and the genitals. So by pulling that up, that creates a char. It completes the circuit at the bottom. As above, so below. You complete the circuit at the top by putting your tongue at the roof of the mouth. And then when you're doing your qigong and you're breathing, this is what creates the cycle. This is what brings the light through the body. This is what creates that charge. This is like your internal Tesla coil, if you will.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
I don't know. I don't even know what the original question is. I don't even know how I went off on
No,
that.
no, no. I was just saying break down the yang meridians, and so people can understand when we say yang and yang. We'll say that a lot because most people just think of yin and yang or yin and yang as just
Ski,
polarity,
ski, ski.
just polarity, right? And it is, but understanding like how it applies to the practical nature of it and why
Uh,
certain organs are this and certain organs are that and how they work together. And there's a correspondence to everything. So
yeah. I think a lot of people think yin yang twins. That's why I said that. You know, I'm serious. I'm so serious. I think that's what people really are like. Hey, yin yang twins? No, not yin. But
yeah,
but no,
yeah,
you're right. But no, this information, man, when you really start putting it together, it's really insightful. And so I'm gonna touch on this last point. Um, I may go more, but I know you need to eat, so I'm not gonna hold you. But I want to share at least this last one with you before you
no,
go.
no, let's go in, man. Hey, family, we coming back as often as we can. We're gonna come back tomorrow. We'll come back. These shows are gonna get better and better and more information. And yeah, so no, let's go in.
All right, cool. So Ren 6, right? I kind of went on a chakra binge, right? For this particular demonstration. So we just dealt with the heart chakra, right? Now we're going to uh, the second chakra, if you will. So you start at your root. So we just spoke about the perineum.
Sacral.
That's right. Yep. So
Yep.
that root chakra, and then you have your sacral chakra. All right. And so that's Ren 6. Okay. So the Chinese name is Qihai, right? English translation, Sea of Qi. Sea of Qi. This is where all the Qi is collected, the center of the body. So when you're doing that microcosmic orbit, you've locked, you've pulled your perineum up, you put your tongue at the roof of the mouth, and when you
Uh-huh.
channel that energy down the front of the Ren meridian, like what was the last one? Ren 17. Now we've moved down 11
Yes.
points. Now we're at Ren 6, right? So at
Right.
Ren 6, basically 2 inches or 2 chun below the navel. Chuns are Chinese inches. Uh, you can
Right.
find the center of the body,
It
which is Sea of Qi. And that's where the Qi is collected. As you exhale down the front of the body, you're collecting it in that, what we call the cauldron in Qigong. But, it's known as the Sea of Qi. But go ahead and
right.
say what you're saying.
And so for the family, and I think maybe as we move along these 12 points, maybe tomorrow we kind of touch on and we can deal with the science because a lot of people think energy is just they understand energy and electricity or they understand energy and certain things that they can see, touch, and feel. But when you say channel that energy and breathing in, and maybe we can go into that a little bit so people can
Mhm.
actually understand it, right? Because he said, man, you got an energy field, and people see the pictures and they see the people meditating, and they see images of what that energy or that electromagnetic energy field is. But maybe we can touch on that, in a little depth. Maybe spend the first part of our next show just so people can understand, like, because some people feel like this stuff is so distant from them. Like, no, you deal with energy every day. You deal with energy if you rub your feet on the carpet and you'll touch a doorknob and you shock it, right? So I think that'll really be from an educational standpoint.
Yeah, no. There's so many things that probably really need to be discussed on that topic alone. Our disconnect with our true selves, which is our spirit self, right? In traditional Chinese medicine, the whole point of Chinese medicine, I should say, the philosophy is dealing with uh, unifying the mind, the body, and the spirit
Yes.
to get everything on the same accord, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I agree with you. And I just think that, the reason why people feel that way is just the disconnect. People don't, people don't, we're so disconnected because of the lifestyles that we're engaging in. Um, right now it doesn't seem to be by force, but it's definitely by program.
Yeah. Yes. And man, you just, God Almighty, you just touched on something. Oh, yeah. We definitely have to come, because I was going to touch on something. Even if you study, whether it's Neil deGrasse Tyson or Einstein or Brian
Mhm.
Cox is another guy, and when you start talking about, they always talk about if you could travel the speed of light, how you go back and you could go back to the Big Bang and the 13.8 billion years that they say the universe has been in existence. But now, what they're finding now is that, okay, we have the speed of light, but then you also have, the further you go back, there's clusters of when these galaxies are being found, they emit a sound.
Mhm. Frequency, yeah.
There's a frequency that's being, so if someone says all this stuff y'all talk about is not true, it's blah 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 blah, this is how the
Man, I
world.
have when it comes to that, I have a theory that I that I think I need to share like with Terrence Howard or something. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I think the Big Bang Theory. I think my personal feeling is that the Big Bang Theory is equivalent to what people get when they get a DNA test. Uh, when I heard Dr. Kittles explain on an interview one time, he said getting your DNA test done is like looking through a peephole, deal, in reference to your genetics.
hmm
I feel like our Big Bang theory has been floating for a while, and people have been working to substantiate it. I think metaphysically there's something to it, but I just think that I think they're looking in the wrong place. I don't think they have a wide enough scope of vision to even have to comprehend the, how should I say, the vast, infinite, the
well, I
infinite,
mean, that's
the
true
yeah, the
because,
non. I'll say this: the non-finite essence of this universe.
well,
That whole breaking it. When they try to age it, I think they're making a huge
only
mistake.
because you can, they only aging it because when you look at certain telescopes, you can see certain distance, and then you can measure that distance of what was existing back then, because that's the time it took for that light to hit us, right? So that's measurable mathematical stuff. Now, to your point,
Mhm.
that's only 3 or 4%. The rest is dark matter and dark energy that they can't quantify. So that's where I'm right in agreement with you, right? And,
Again,
and they acknowledge that,
and I'm
right?
gonna say this too. I don't want to get too off point, but
Yeah, yeah, we
I
going in.
I had I don't know if I ever shared this with you, man, but I dug deep into the whole dark matter thing. I'm not convinced. Personally, I believe that the dark matter phenomenon that they're trying to quantify is truly uh, magnetic electrism. I'm not sure how to pronounce that correctly, but
Ooh. Have you ever watched the movie Interstellar?
I believe I have. It sounds familiar. I'll say that. I can't
Okay.
recall right off the
Yeah,
top.
we can talk about it offline. That's man, this is a
Yeah,
great conversation. This
yeah.
is
There,
so
it's just like, so the reason why I say that, I'm gonna locate this information I put away years ago, um, but it's interesting. An associate of both of ours ended up using that same data, and it's funny because I believe I shared it with him, one time, and he ended up going to the Comedic conference and using that information and showing it and making that like his presentation concept. But that whole concept, I have to show you the models because they've been able to reproduce these models in laboratories with magnets and electricity to show that things like the black hole aren't what scientists are trying to explain them to be. Things like the like that blue hexagon that's at the poles of Saturn. They're the same phenomenon that you see on quasars, the same phenomenon, and it's literally electromagnetism. But I have to show you because the lab the
Because I
lab
have my own theory as well
yeah.
about. Yeah, we can get into that.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm gonna put some stuff together. I'm gonna send it to you because I
Okay.
think you'll find
Yeah.
it fascinating.
Right. Because
This information was suppressed back in like the 70s, so like you can find it, but like it's not. They've kept it out of the mainstream, and I believe it's been on purpose. And that's why although like when it came to the whole Terrence Howard piece, his primary ideas, I denounce 100%. That 1 × 1 = 2 thing. That is, to me, that is a
okay.
ridiculous
So
quotient.
there's a book that ancestors talked about. There's a French guy by the name of Swallow de Lubix, and he was in the pyramids, 12 years. He was a mathematician, a physicist, and he was studying the metal net or the hieroglyphics for people who don't know what that means, and some of the mathematical formulas. And so the concept that our ancestors, ancient Comedians or Tamaray or whatever you want to call it, not 1 × 1, but 1 + 1 was 3. Because when 2 complete entities come together, they produce something else.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right.
Yeah, my
Now,
my
the
own
1
like
+ 1, I ain't sure about that, but the 1 + 1 = 3.
yeah, I'm actually with that. But the issue I had was just his 1 × 1 being 2.
Right.
I actually understood his concept and where he was going with it, but just like the thing about math is that you can always check it.
Yeah.
Math always checks itself, and
Yeah.
so however you run down the line of multiplication, no matter how you do it. So let's say 2 × 2. Regardless of what numbers you're multiplying, it's literally telling you if you say it in reverse, it's going to give you the answer. It's 2
Correct.
2 times. So even
2
1
times.
1 time is only 1. So you can't get 2 from 1 time. You know what I'm saying? But I get it where he was trying to go metaphysically. But
yeah, and I think, I think it's healthy
metaphysics,
because he's
it just
willing
has
to
to be
challenge,
clear.
even if he's wrong. I like the fact that
No,
he is.
metaphysically, here's the thing. I'm not gonna say he's wrong. It's how we identify stuff. So like I think that's one of maybe I think it's a weakness of mankind, but it's also a strength. The fact that we compartmentalize stuff. Like I think it's necessary for certain stuff, but I think it also creates division.
Right. Well,
Depending on where we put it.
Show, right? In health,
Exactly.
right? We devise it and we try to compartmentalize when everything is interdependent on each other.
That's right.
Right. And it's so funny, man. That word always has stuck with me because when I read The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey, the word that he used was interdependent. We are interdependent on each other.
That's
right. Being independent doesn't serve you well. It's about being interdependent. But yeah, I digress, man. I'll let you finish up. Or
I'm just gonna finish this last little piece, and I'm gonna shut it down too. Maybe show a little commercial or two, and lock it out. But so yeah, the location is on the anterior median line of the lower abdomen. So again, in the middle of the body, the middle line. lower abdomen 1.5 chun below the umbilicus or the belly button. Indication again, so if you're feeling these symptoms, this is a good point that you can press. Abdominal pain, diarrhea, constipation, enuresis, hernia, spermatoria, impotence, irregular menstruation, amenorrhea, emaciation due to consumption disease, and Chinese medicine still uses the term consumption. That's a term that hasn't been used in Western medicine probably in 60 years or so. They use a different word. They use the C word for that, the other C word for consumption in allopathic medicine. However, we do make a slight distinction. Sometimes what we're calling consumption is not the other C word. And I'm saying it like that because I've been learning recently that there's certain verbal cues that we should not use on YouTube. Otherwise, there's certain, you can get banned for saying certain things in certain contexts. And I always notice everybody's like, they pow-powed him. And, I'm like, what? But I keep seeing it happen over and over. So I'm realizing that there's a reason. And these people are trying not to get their videos taken down and, whatever. So the function of this point, meaning what you can use it for also, is to strengthen the kidney qi and yang, regulate the qi, benefits original qi, and treats prolapse. So like if a female has a prolapse, so it can be prolapse colon or prolapse uterus.
Okay.
Ren 6 has a function to tonify as well as maintain health. And of course, it's a homeostasis point. So as you can see, it balances a lot of different issues. But yeah, I'm gonna let you go, man, so you can get your nutrition in. I'm gonna play a couple of these little commercials here.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on and watch it, man. But I just want to say to the family, hey, this is we just conversing, man, and just having real conversations. And yeah, some of the stuff we may say, we don't want to say it's over people's head. You just haven't learned it yet or haven't been exposed to it. But the great thing about it is we'll bring everything back to center so you can apply it to your everyday life. And like I said, if you need to consult with Dr. Gabe, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you want to, get with me, we're here, and we're here to help. And we're going to keep giving you some gems and, keep growing. So, this is, I know Gabe has done some shows here or there. I'm trying to find, so you remember our original podcast that we was doing through Anchor? Mm-hmm. When Anchor went over to Spotify, I wasn't aware of it. And so those Life Force Movement podcasts, a couple that we did, mm-hmm. You can access them, but I can't go in and change them because I didn't switch my Anchor to Spotify. So they're on Spotify. So I'm going to try to find a link so people can look at, some of our other earlier episodes on talking mm-hmm. about, the Life Force Movement. And I think we did another, I think it was Broken Crayons Can Still Color, something like that. That we were, yeah, man, just overcoming. You talked about your hand, and Omar talked about, when he broke his leg from rock climbing, and so
that's right, yeah.
So those are, family, those are audio, but mm-hmm. we can revise those and go back in on those as well too. So I'll find those, man. I'll send them to you, and then put them in the chat, and then we can rock out, later on down the line.
No, that's a plan. Family, it's been a pleasure. Shantae, man, much thanks for you coming on. I know we were trying to get on a little bit earlier. I meant to text you. I had a call scheduled at 6, and I forgot to text you when it came on, and it was like 6:15 before I even realized.
It's
I
all
was just
good.
behind on everything.
Hey, family, we'll come back in. We can go in tomorrow. So I'm free tomorrow
Yeah,
during
for
the
sure.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
So we
definitely
can,
do that. And
we,
again, like my brother said, if you guys um, need anything, consultation, if you're trying to figure out what you need, you can visit the website below. We have, teas, tinctures, tonics, etc. But if you don't know what you need, feel free to give us a call. The number's on the screen. The website's there. We'll be glad to assist you.
and hey,
Yeah.
family, I'm doing this for another group, but we have just to get you level set for the new year. We have a 10-day self-care challenge, and then I
Maybe
have
we
a
can go on that tomorrow. We can
I
really
have
go on.
and we have a 21-day meal prep challenge, and then the big thing coming at the first of new year, we're going to offer the 10-day challenge for free, but then the first of the year we have a 4-week mindset reset program. It's a $99 program, but
Mm,
it's going to not only
that's right.
assist you with your goal setting, financial goals, dietary goals, just really get you thinking about how you're going about your day-to-day life. And we'll have modules, um, different things that you can track yourself, and we're going to build it together. So we'll have an open daily chat, and then Gabe and I probably do a weekly. We'll release each module on a Sunday, and then we'll go in maybe on a Wednesday to answer questions and see how people are doing, check in on you. We'll leave the chat open, but we'll do a live too. So people, because people, we all have different struggles and stuff like that, and different professions, and we all need a reset. So so we got some good things coming. But tomorrow we'll talk about the 10-day challenge and the 21-day meal prep challenge as well too.
That's right. So that sounds like a plan for tomorrow. With that, family, I'm gonna say peace and love.
Peace and
Um,
love.
and we definitely I want to get this message out to people that um, I want to start working with people on a preventative basis. I really want to. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, and to also continue with this process, is to make this information preventative. And the reason why that is that most times when I work with people, um, they're on the last leg, and you know, I don't want our people to always be out of options when they look me up. You know, find me when you're still fine, so I can help you get fine tuned, so you can
Right.
have some things in place and some tools in your toolbox, so that when and if something does happen, you already know what to do, and you don't necessarily, have to
Right.
wait until, you know, the doctors are telling you, we ain't got nothing for you.
Exactly. I was telling you earlier at the beginning of the show when I was writing my bio, because earlier in one of the things I think at the end I said, my purpose and passion is to elevate, educate, and eliminate, right? Elevate your awareness, educate you on the what and the how, what's going on, how to fix it, and then eliminate the toxins, the trauma, the people, the habits, all that from your life so your body can do what it's meant to do. So that's
That's right.
that's that's how we moving.
That's powerful. That's powerful. All right, family. Peace and
All right,
love.
family. All right.
Have you ever felt frustrated waiting to be seen when you're not feeling your best? Or ever struggled through tests and expensive procedures without ever finding real relief? Imagine if you could get a better understanding of your overall well-being right now, in minutes. What would that mean to you, or to your family? We'd like you to know there's a whole new way to improve your comprehension surrounding your wellness, using a total body scanner unlike any other, right in your own home. This groundbreaking new technology helps you to better understand your body's needs and wellness status, and it's available to you and your family right now. Here's how the science works. Every organ in the human body vibrates at a particular frequency. When illness appears, this frequency changes. Think about it like tuning a guitar. When the string frequencies are incorrect, the music will not sound harmonious. When your body's frequencies are restored, you restore harmony to your whole body. energizing and optimizing your mental, emotional, and nutritional states. We found that people who experienced this technology were so excited they started telling everyone. So we also created an income opportunity where people can earn a little extra by sharing the product. No more wondering, no more worrying. Take charge of creating your best life. Learn more about how you can retune, revitalize, and restore your own body harmony by clicking the link below.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.